Imagine this. You're sitting peacefully watching a movie with your husband of 5 years. Life feels unusually calm, almost cozy. Until suddenly your world explodes. A scream pierces the air, your daughter is standing naked in the bathroom, your husband stumbling backward, and before you can even process what's happening, rumors spread across your entire family branding the man you love as a predator. All of it fueled by your own daughter's lies. If you've ever felt the gut punch of being falsely accused, or if you crave those moments of raw justice when the truth finally slices through the lies, then this is your story. Smash that subscribe button, hit like, and buckle in. Because what happened next wasn't just family drama. It became a full-blown war for truth, loyalty, and survival. When I tell you that our household was mostly peaceful, don't picture rainbows and soft pastel walls. Think more like a fragile glass ornament, shiny on the outside, but one wrong touch and it could shatter into 1,000 trembling shards. 5 years into my marriage with Mark, that's my husband, life felt functional. We were no fairy tale couple, but we were partners in every sense. He steadied me, made me laugh in little ways that caught me off guard, and above all, treated my daughter, Emily, with a patience that went beyond obligation. Now, Emily was 19, college on the horizon, headphones always in, that complicated cocktail of independence and immaturity. She never quite called him Dad, but she would ask his advice, sometimes even seek comfort from him. Their relationship was cordial, neutral ground. At least that's what I thought. Thursday night. I can still remember the way the caramel smell of microwave popcorn clung to the living room curtains. Mark and I were cozied on the couch, watching a movie we'd half forgotten about. The house was unusually quiet. Halfway through some dialogue, Mark stood up. "Bathroom break. Pause it," he said casually. "No red flags. Until knock. I heard it, clear as my own heartbeat. Followed by another round, insistent. Then screaming. The sound ripped through me. I sprinted toward the hallway, heart pounding. There she was, my daughter. Naked. Shaking. Arms crossed over her chest. And Mark, wide-eyed, stumbling backward like he'd set foot on a landmine. His hands fumbled with the door, his voice cracking. "Sorry. Sorry." Emily's voice was piercing. "Get out. Get out." My mind spun. Ice water in my veins. This image, frozen in time. My husband flushed and scrambling, my daughter seething like a cornered animal. And me caught in the middle. What happened? I demanded, breathless. Mark's face was taut with panic. I knocked. Swear twice. Nobody answered. Door wasn't locked. I thought it was empty. Then she was there. I backed out immediately. My daughter's words cut in. He walked in on me. I was changing and he just stared for a second before running out. Already, stories didn't align. I pressed further. "Emily, why didn't you answer the knock?" "I heard him." She hesitated. "I didn't hear anything. I had my headphones in, I was listening to music." Ah, that made sense. At least it should have. Mark apologized profusely. In fact, excessively. He explained, she eventually softened, even hugged him with an awkward tremble and muttered her own apology for screaming. For a breathless moment I thought, okay, crisis averted. But oh, how naive I was. Because that wasn't the end. It was only the opening shot in a battlefield that would leave all of us wounded. Started with a phone call, then two, then a cascade. My sister's furious voice spat through my phone. "How dare you let him stay in your house after what he did to Emily?" Confused. Whiplash. "What are you talking about?" It was a misunderstanding. He knocked, she didn't hear. "No," she snapped back. "Emily told us she answered, and he walked in anyway. That's not an accident. That's predatory." My stomach twisted into snarls. She said what? Pressed. Stories came from cousins, nieces, then complete family friends. Like a virus, the alternate version of events spread at wildfire speed. Only in this version, my husband wasn't a fumbling man with bad timing. He was a creep. A stepfather lurking and watching a teenage girl undress. It was Emily's word against his and mine. Except she hadn't just misstated. She had omitted the AirPods, omitted the half-second freeze, omitted the fact that she'd initially accepted it as a mistake. She made him into a monster. We had one tool: cameras. Hallway cameras outside the bathroom. No audio but visible. 3 distinct knocks. 1 pause. 3 again. Then the door cautiously opening. Audio missing but the visual inarguable. I sat Emily down. Showed her. My voice trembled but fire wove into it anyway. Explain this. Explain why you said he didn't knock when he clearly did. Her lips quivered. She denied. She dodged. She redirected. Oh, I didn't tell anyone that. I just told my cousin what it felt like. But the seeds were already sown. Family group chats exploded behind my back. Screenshots venomously labeled Mark as a predator. My husband, the man who brought me tea on rainy mornings, was being dragged into whispered conversations that could ruin his entire future. She cried. She begged. She said sorry in bursts, then backpedaled immediately into half-truths. But the tears weren't from regret of lying. They were fear. Fear of exposure. Fear of the spotlight pointing back at her. The next day Mark walked in. His face, usually ruddy and warm, was pale stone. Bags stuffed at his sides. I can't do this anymore, he said. His parents' voices had reached him. His siblings. People whispering behind his back. I need space from this madness. The air split open. My daughter crumbled, sobbing, suddenly cornered by reality. I'll fix it. I'll fix it, please don't leave. But it was too little, too late. He walked out. Luggage scraping the doorframe. The echo of his shoes perfectly aligned with a hollow ringing in my chest. And me. My rage finally cracked open. I sat her down. This wasn't gentle explanation anymore. This was truth drawn in steel. If I lose this marriage, Emily, if he divorces me, if this bond shatters because of your lies, you will leave too. I won't live in the ashes of a good man's name just to protect the comfort of a selfish daughter who invented stories for sympathy. Her face drained. She begged for my help, my protection. But no. 19 is not 9. And lies this heavy are not accidents. She created this fire. She had to burn her own fingers putting it out. Slowly pressure built, and oh, how poetic the revenge became. Not in screaming fits, but in forcing Emily into the light. Imagine being 19, thinking the family will side with you blindly, and then being shown not only the footage but also your mother turning to you saying, "You will face them all. You will own this lie." The same family group chats that had marinated in rumor now received new evidence. Her silence made her guilt scream louder. And every name that once defended her began to ask uncomfortable questions she couldn't dodge. The revenge wasn't me exposing her. It was me withdrawing protection. Condemning her to fix what she'd shattered. Ensuring the weight of adult consequences fell squarely on her shoulders. And watching her, faced with shame, regret, and the erosion of unearned trust, was its own brutal justice. What happened? The crack. Step by painful step, Emily had to admit to more relatives what truly happened. That she hadn't heard him knock. That she exaggerated, meddled, lied. Each admission chipped away not only at her reputation but at her comfortable shield of innocent victimhood. Mark, while still hurt, received those truths like cautious remedies. And though whole trust may never be repaired, the whisper network labeling him predator was silenced. My satisfaction wasn't in her tears, but in watching the scales right themselves. A good man's name defended. Lies exposed. Justice carved in honesty. Sometimes, revenge doesn't look like slamming doors or screaming matches. Sometimes it's simply cutting the safety net and letting someone tumble into the truth they tried so hard to outrun. What Emily learned, what our whole family learned, is this. Lies can never stay hidden under the light. And when the truth burns its way through, it scorches everything. So, what do you think? Did justice find its mark here? Or was I too harsh on my daughter? If you've ever witnessed someone's lies unravel spectacularly, share it in the comments. Subscribe for more stories where truth gets the last laugh. And don't forget to like this video so YouTube knows people love seeing real-life justice.